The Walk Down, Season 2. I think this is episode 25, close to 25. I need to go back and like put a title on all of them. But yeah, man, Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away, 54 years old. That leads me back to what somebody said, asked, made a statement in the comment section. Life is your biggest asset. Yep. Life is your biggest asset. I'm gonna go this way. Life is your biggest asset, and you gotta treat it and you gotta live it as such. Yeah, that's what we gotta think about, guys. 54 years old. It's not old. That's kind of, midlife. 54 years old, man. Life is your biggest asset, and you gotta treat it as such. Not only as a kid, but as a parent, right? You gotta treat life and thank God for every day that you wake up. You gotta thank God because you never know. And you gotta treat life as such. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one and only Stock Sniper, and this is The Walk Down. This is season 2, episode right at I think 25. You know, when I finish exercising, I really don't have time to type all the other stuff I used to do. So it's a lot of them I gotta go back and retitle. So this is about the 25th episode. We halfway through a season, number 2. And I remember when I was young, I used to watch The Cosby Show, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and all these other shows he used to be in. You know, I'm not 54. I'm about to be 52 next month if God allow me to make it. So we gotta treat every single day as if it's your last, bro. Cause you never know what's going on. You never know. And that's some things. Sometimes we don't think about that type of thing. You know, we don't think about that. That's why it's very, very important to try to treat people as good as you can. Try to always stay, motivated. Try to always try to inspire people. You never want to burn no bridges, bro. That's one of the things my grandpa used to tell me when I was a little bitty boy. You don't want to burn no bridges, man. You always want to try to keep your face value, which is your name and your word and what you stand for. You got to keep it. Everybody say, well, okay, you know what? Man, one thing about him, this. You know what I'm saying? When you leave this earth, you want your spirit to live on as far as how you treated other people, how you treat your kids, how you live your life, how many people you try to help on this earth. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. Rest in peace to Jamal Warner. Rest in peace to him, man. Because I used to watch that Cosby Show and all the other shows he used to play in when I was young. He's a little bit older than me, but hey, I was watching those shows, man. I used to like watching the Cosby Show. And I can't remember the other shows that he was in, but it was a lot more that he was in. And you just never know, man. You just never know. That's why I always try to live my life. I always try to live my life to think about my downline, bro. That's why if you've been on this channel a lot, I talk about that a lot. Hey, but what's up, Florine? I talk about that a lot. I always talk about my kids. I talk about my grandkids. I talk about my great-grandkids. You know what I'm saying? Because I already know in my mind, and I programmed that into my subconscious mind. I mean, and realistically, I was kind of raised like that because my grandma, my grandpa, and my mama, you know what I'm saying, they always taught us about your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your downline, so that's how I was kind of raised. That my grandma, my grandpa, and my mama, they always talked about downline. They always talked about who's coming after you, and when you're young, you listen to it, it go in one ear and out the other until you start actually getting around 30. Actually, you start getting around 30. You know, that's right. I have a choice. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat yourself. Squash all negativity. Condolences to Malcolm. Yeah, that's right. You know, and it makes you think, well, okay, life ain't really that long, bro. It's not. But what is long is what people think and got to say about you after. So that be, you know, that's why I talk about that a lot on this channel. Some people always, he always bringing up grandkids and great grandkids and great. I do that for a specific reason, because we got to be thinking about that every single day. Every single day, I think about my grandkids and my great grandkids, and you know, I try to live I try to my best to live my life in an image where they can look back when I'm gone the way I look at my grandpa and my great grandpa. You know what I'm saying? I think about them highly because of the foundation and the work they put in, you know what I'm saying, to instill certain things in us. That's why life is short, bro. Life is short, but what your life lives on by what you leave behind. Yeah, I'm about to go in today. Your life is short. Life is short, bro. But then what your kids, what your grandkids, what your great-grandkids, what your great-great-great-grandkids think about you, know about you, what the people tell them about how you lived your life, that lasts forever. Life is eternal, bro. The life that we live on this earth, like, is short, but eternal is forever. And whatever what your kids and your great-grandkids think about you, that's what's gonna be passed down to the rest of the family, all the way down through history, bro. That's why I try to, you know what I'm saying, nobody's perfect, but I try to live, and I try to, you know, live my life a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? I want to leave a positive footprint, you know what I'm saying, on what my grandkids and my great-grandkids think about me and what they tell other people about me when they see my picture. Well, these days, thanks to the internet, it's videos now. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of videos. You know, I have a choice. Hey, man, appreciate you for joining me. There's videos now. See, back, the only thing that I had was pictures of my grandpa and my great-grandpa and whatever assets they left behind. But that's why life, I can't remember who put that in the comment section the other day, but life is your biggest asset. You know, if you have a long longevity of life, my grandfather was blessed to live to be over 80, but he left a tangible blueprint for us to follow, right? And that will live forever. And now with the development of the internet and videos, guess what, guys? We'll be able to leave our video footprint of ourselves and how we live our lives. Catch this, on how we live our lives to not only our kids, but our grandkids and great-grandkids. So in other words, these videos that I put down and the things that I say on this video and the things that y'all hear me saying, guess what, guys? Whenever I'm gone, guess who's gonna be able to listen to this? My great-grandkids and my great-great-grandkids forever. You know, and that's that right there, man. Shout out to the guy that said that. I can't remember, I think it was Thursday in the live on the walk down. He said life is our biggest asset. And guess what? That's a fact. Because your life can be cut short at a blinking of an eye. Whenever God get ready to say, your time is up on this earth. Hi, hey, Marianne, appreciate you for joining me. Appreciate y'all. You know, your life can be cut short at any given second. And then with that being said, what your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids gonna be able to say about you? What great experience and what knowledge and the wisdom you have gave to them that they will be able to pass on down to somebody else. A lot of things that I learned, a lot of things that I say, a lot of things that I talk about on this internet and in real life, I learned from my grandpa. A lot of these principles was passed down from my grandpa, my great-grandpa, my dad, that type of thing. And I get so excited when I think about it, because those are the things that keep those people's lives living forever. And guess what I know? The same things that they instilled in me, guess what I'm trying my best in my abilities to do, to put that into my grandkids. You know what I'm saying? And it's so blessed to have a kid. My daughter done had a kid, and she's teaching the same things that been passed to me from my upline to be able to teach that to my kids and my grandkids, and me to be able to assist, you know what I'm saying, and to put a stamp on this blueprint that's been put down. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. Man, what we got to realize, man, life is short, bro. Life is short. You know what I'm saying? Once I changed my mind and I realized that, hey, bro, you got not just a digital blueprint that you could put down, you know what I'm saying? But you have a natural physical blueprint that you could put down. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? You got kids and grandkids and great-grandkids that you got to think about. The same things that was passed down to you, you'll be wrong if you don't pass that long wealth of knowledge all the way down. Because guess what? You never know when God might call you home. You never know. You know what I'm saying? And that's the mindset that I got. I know so many people, and so many times, people don't even think about that. They don't even think about, well, man, God might not wake me up today. You know what I'm saying? You got to live every day like it's your last, bro. You got to live. We have to practice living every day like it's our last. In other words, we got to connect with our kids. We got to connect with our grandkids, because you never know. You never know. I don't want my grandkids to say, well, man, I ain't never seen Pawpaw before. I ain't never heard Pawpaw talk. Pawpaw ain't never gave me no words of wisdom. Pawpaw ain't never did none of this. No. That's why it's very important to understand that you got every single day, you got to live it like it's your last, bro. If we practice living every single day like it's your last, guess what's going to happen? You're going to think about things totally different. If you wake up every single morning and say, thank God for waking me up, you know what I'm saying? And then think, man, God could have cut me out last night. Guess what I got to do? Because you never know. Today might be my last day. And guess what's going to happen? All of a sudden, things going to start aligning, and you're going to start putting things in proper perspective. And then guess what, guys? The things that don't even matter ain't going to even matter no more, bro. A lot of things, bro, that we go through on our day-to-day lives. Rest in peace, Malcolm Jamal Warner. A lot of things that we go through in our day-to-day lives, bro, don't even matter. It don't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things we can just overlook. We can overlook the disrespectful cousin. We can overlook the Pookie and the Ray. It's certain things that we need to just overlook, man. But it's good to try to give them words of wisdom, try to tell them something, even though a lot of people don't want to hear nothing these days. It's good to try to tell them something, you know what I'm saying? Because guess what? One thing they're going to realize, if God was to take your life today, guess what they're going to say? They're going to say, man, he always was trying to talk positive. Man, he always was trying to lead us in the right direction. Man, I showed, and then guess what's going to happen? They're going to realize that, hey, those things you was telling them, they miss it in their life. And guess what's going to happen? Some of those principles that you taught them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to teach that to their kids and grandkids. And guess what that does? They're going to tell their kids and their grandkids about you. And guess what's going to happen? Your legacy will live on. Your legacy will live on. The way we live our lives should be something our children and grandchildren want to cherish. That's right. Yes, that's right. Great comment. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one and only Stock Sniper, man. I'm just sitting here kicking it in this beautiful park. I just ran 6 miles. I'm not going to walk another 2 or 3, man. I just thought about, dang, Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away. Like, golly, man, I used to watch the Cosby Show all the time, man. We kind of really he's 3 or 4 years older than me, but, God, you just never know. You just never know. That's why, I got to put it out there to the internet. God put this on my mind. Bro, we got to start thinking about the things that don't matter, don't even matter, bro. You know what I'm saying? They don't. Only thing that matters is what you putting down for your kids and your grandkids, man. Like I say, that's all we should be caring about, you know, and trying to wake up other people. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get other people to say, man, look, man, you got to think about something different. Sometimes you got to change your circle, you know what I'm saying, in order to grow. Trust me, I had to change my circle, bro, in order to grow. I had to understand that, hey, I've outgrown this. You know, and yes, it was troublesome, and yes, it hurt. Guess what? You taught me everything that I need to learn. Now, man, look, I got to move on. I got another element of my life that I got to worry about. You know what I'm saying? I can't be concerned with the foolishness. I can't do it. I can't be concerned with the foolishness. I can't. Why? Because I got a bigger goal and I got a bigger plan, and it got something to do with my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids. You know, if God, you know, give me and let me, you know, be around another 25, 30 years, I'm gonna be able to touch my great grandkids, bro. I got grandkids right now. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Not even that long, probably another 10 or 15 years. If God bless me to be alive for another 10 or 15 years, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be able to touch and inspire my great grandkids in real life. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had the ability to meet my great grandfather that's on that wall. Those of y'all that come in my lives, that picture that's in the back, that's a picture of my great grandfather back there, man. You know what I'm saying? The person that put down the foundation. You know what I'm saying? The person that came down with this earn, spend less, and make proper investments and pass it down to your kids and grandkids. That's what it's about. Not just like the guy in the comment said the other day. It's not just about investments. Like, you know, it's about life is your biggest asset. Not no stock, not no bond, not no real estate, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Life is your biggest asset, because there's so many times people have so much ability to be so successful in life, and guess what happens to them? A lot of them, God take them away at 20 or 25 years old. God will take them away at 20 or 25 years old. Life is your biggest asset. You know what I'm saying? And all we can do is try to do the best we can, right? Get out, work on your mental health, work on your physical fitness. You know what I'm saying? Do the things that you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Try to take care of your body. Try to put as much of the best things in your body as you can. You know what I'm saying? Try to keep your mental health down. And also, you gotta stay out of those toxic circles, because yes, being in a toxic circle all the time, being in a toxic relationship, you know what I'm saying? Being around negative, toxic people all the time, guess what that does, guys? That is that's in the top 5 of causing strokes. That's in the top 5 of causing heart attacks. Up there with not eating properly and not exercising. Being negative, stress, drama, always arguing, can't get along with nobody. Guess what that does, guys? That affects your health as well. Not only your mental health, but your physical health. Take it from the OG. Oh, I forgot. They say I'm not old enough to be an OG. Take it from the Unc. Life is our greatest asset, bro. Life is our greatest asset, and put God first. Wake up every single morning, pray, thank God. You know what I'm saying? Thank God. Thank God. I thank God every day that I'm able to come out here and put the work in. God lets me get up every single day so I can come out here, run 6 miles a day, walk another 2, and I owe it to God, and I owe it to society to do what? Try to be much of a positive person that I can be. Why? Because life is my greatest asset. That's why. That's why. I always talk about it. I don't worry about all that. I have a bigger calling in my life, bro. Why? Because life is short. That's why. And I understand life is my biggest asset. But guess what? It took me some time to develop the level of understanding that life is my biggest asset. Life is short. I got to take advantage of life while I'm here. And it starts right now. And it starts right now. Nothing else matters, bro. Nothing else matters. Nothing. That's the only thing that matters. And once I realized that, once I changed my mind, guess what happened? I developed to a whole nother person. I developed to a whole nother person. That's what happened. Because, guys, life is short, bro. And life is your biggest asset. That's what matters. What are you going to leave behind to your grandkids and your great-grandkids? What are you going to leave behind? My goal is to leave as much knowledge and give as much wisdom as I can. That's why I make these videos. That's why I'm inspired. I am inspired to do it. Yes, I am. I'm inspired. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. This is The Walk Down, Season 2, Episode 25. Life is your biggest asset, bro. Life is your biggest asset, sis. And you gotta live every day like that. You gotta live every day like it's your last, man. You gotta live every day like it's your last. And guess what? Once you get that understanding and that development in your mind, guess what's gonna happen? Bullshit ain't gonna bother you, bro. All that nonsense or whatever's going on ain't gonna bother you. Cause why? Because you got a bigger purpose in life, man. Look how beautiful this day is. Look how beautiful this day is. It's a bigger purpose in life, bro. It's a bigger purpose than bullshit and bubblegum. We got to understand that. You got to wake up, thank God, right? And then go on with your day of doing what else you need to do to take care of you and your family. Thinking about your grandkids and your great-grandkids in your mind. If we would start thinking about that and think about it every single day, you won't have time to be worrying about what Pookie and Ray Ray doing, bro. You won't, sis. You won't have to be. You won't be worrying about who's being negative on the job. You won't be worrying about none of that shit, bro. You won't be worrying about that. Why? Because you too busy focusing, understanding that life is short. Life is my biggest asset. And I got things I need to do for my kids and my great-grandkids and my kids. I got things that I need to do. I ain't got time. That's why they behind, y'all. Because they behind because they worrying about the wrong thing. That's why. It take time to shine. That's why they ass behind. So we got to remember. Life is short. I'm going the wrong way. Life is short. And life is your greatest asset. And we got to practice that every single day, every morning. Every single morning. Yes, God is first. Every morning. Every morning I wake up, I thank God. Right? I thank God. Every morning. When I'm running my 6 miles, you know what I'm doing? I'm praying and I'm meditating, bro. I'm thanking God for giving me the ability to go out and exercise at my age. I'm able to do things that 20-year-olds, not that they can't do, they won't do. See, that's another thing, guys. You got to get your mind together. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people can do extraordinary things. They just don't want to expand their mind because they're too busy worrying about bullshit and bubblegum. A lot of people can have the ability to retire at 50, retire before 50 years old like I did. Ain't nothing special about me. You know what I'm saying? I just understand to keep my mind and keep my eye on the prize and not worry about no bullshit and no bubblegum and stay out of the mess, stay out of the drama. Stay out of certain circles that don't apply. If it don't apply, let it fly. That's what I'm on. If it don't apply, let it fly. Let it go in one end out the other. But man, mess and drama and gossip is so easy to get into, guys, and so hard to get out of. But I'm here to tell you, you can't get out of that. First, you got to recognize that life is short. Life is short. And another thing you got to recognize is that I can't get nothing out of that. And guess what's going to happen? You got to repeat that every single day, all the time, and do something productive. And then you got to do number 3, which is very important. You got to change the circle. You got to change the circle. Sometimes, guys, a lot of times, once you realize that life is short and life is your greatest asset, that alone will make you say, look, my life is more valuable to staying into this type of circle, man. I got to move around, especially if that circle listen to what I'm about to say, especially if that circle takes up 80% of what's going on in your mind. If that circle that you know you don't need to be around takes up 80 or 90% of the time in your head, guess what you need to do? Then you need to realize, man, oh, now I need to elevate from this. I need to change directions in the way that I'm going. And once you realize life is your greatest asset, rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner. Once you realize that life is your greatest asset, you're going to think about some different things, bro. You're going to think about things differently. Just think about it, man. Some people ain't get to wake up today. Some people didn't get to wake up yesterday. Some people lost their life at 20 years old. Some people lost their life at 30 years old. You know what I'm saying? Some people lost their life at 80 years old. Some people lost their life at 50 years old, like me. Imagine losing your life at 40 or 50 years old, even 60, and you don't have no footprint of not only your kids, but your grandkids or even your parents. And if you're a parent, you got to be more active in your kids' life, bro. You got to be active in the development of them. You know what I'm saying? You have to be more active. And guess what? With the development of the internet, you can put your digital footprint down. Like all these videos that I make. My kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids will be able to listen to this to as long as YouTube is around. And guess what? YouTube is still young. YouTube has a lot of growth and development going on. Shout out to YouTube. But yes, growth and development. Wake up every morning. Thank God. Thank God for waking you up and letting you live another day. Understand that life is your greatest asset. Then I got to work on growth and development for the rest of the day until it's time to go to bed. That's how you reprogram your mind. Ain't nothing more powerful than a reprogram changed mind. Listen to Ain't nothing more powerful than that. And guess what I know? Long as God wake you up every single day, you have the chance to change. You have the chance to change. You have the chance to call your daughter, to call your son, call your mama, call your daddy, and understand no matter what the situation is, and they can understand, look, and have a conversation with them. Have a nice conversation with them. That's growth and development. That's when you know you have grown and developed as a human being. When you're able to call your daddy that never did nothing for you. When you're able to call your mama that ain't never did nothing for you, that probably was a junkie. You're able to call your brother or your sister that sold you dope or whatever. You're able to call people that didn't add up to what you expect them to add up. Because when you have growth and development, then you understand this one thing. What is that, Stock Sniper? That nobody is perfect, bro. Nobody is perfect. But we do know one thing is promised to us. God gonna take you away. One of these days, we're going to go to. One thing is not really good. Is that God take your mama, God take your daddy, and you never really had a grown-up conversation with them, without your feelings involved. That's growth and development. Not having your feelings involved and having a conversation and letting your old man or your mom or your daughter, whatever the case may be, let them understand how you really feel, but knowing how to communicate with them effectively, not out of anger, but out of love. Because guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? One of these days, guess what's going to happen? One of these days, they're going to be gone, and it's going to irk you, and it's going to make you even more bitter. Why? Because you did not have the conversation that you're supposed to have had. Hello. It makes you have the conversation. It makes you, man, it's going to make you even more bitter inside. That's another thing, guys. A lot of us walk around with bitterness, bro. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? If I had anything, a problem with my dad, guess what? I'm going to have a conversation with him. Why? Not for him, but for me. Because I know that, guess what? I'm going to be the one that's going to have to live with the bitterness. He's going to be gone. But I'm going to be the one that have to live with the bitterness of not letting them know, hey, how far I have came. Look what you done missed out on. Look at the growth and development. What? That's what. So we got to remember, bro, life is our biggest asset, man. Life. The time that God give us on this earth is our biggest asset. Life is our biggest asset. You know what I'm saying? Growth and development are the tools we need. You know, you will understand that life is your biggest asset. You know what I'm saying? See, that's another thing. That's another thing, guys. You know, a lot of people are just bitter, bro. That's the reason why people can't get along with nobody, bro. You are bitter and frustrated in the inside. You know what I'm saying? You come in somebody's life and you don't make a positive comment. You make a negative comment. You try to talk about somebody. Guess what, guys? You bitter in the inside. And guess what? Ain't nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is when you don't acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? When you don't acknowledge the bitterness, bro. When you don't understand that life is your greatest asset. You know what I'm saying? Once you realize life is your greatest asset, guess what's going to happen? Your mind is going to shift and change in a whole nother direction. And then you're going to lead with love, not with hate. You're going to lead with love, not with anger. You're going to lead with love, not frustration. You're going to lead with knowledge and wisdom, not hate, not gossip, not rumors, right? I mean, you just got something going on within you, right? If when I was going back and forth with people, fighting all the time, getting in all this trouble, because me, I ain't the type of person to be arguing with nobody, man. I never was that type of person. So if I had frustration with somebody, guess what? We're going to do what we got to do, or we're going to part our ways. You go over there, I go over here. But once I understood and I dealt with the inside of frustration or whatever the case may be, guess what happened? It changed my mind. I lead with love. I lead with wisdom. I lead with understanding. And once I see foolishness, guess what I do? I turn around and I go the other way. That's growth and development. It takes time to get growth and development. First, I had to realize that I had something going on within me. If you always leading with hate, you always making negative comments, you always quick to argue with somebody, you never want to be a solution to the problem. You always want to be the problem to the problem. You never want to be a solution. You know what I'm saying? You always want to blame others. Well, he did it to me, so I'm going to do it back. Bro, no, that's that bitterness inside of you. You know what I'm saying? That's that bitterness inside of you. You know what I'm saying? So if you come into somebody's life, especially an old man, you know what I'm saying, that's trying to inspire, right? That's trying to inspire, and people that's in the comment section that's trying to inspire as well, guess what? You got to realize, bro, something's going on with me. Something is going on. Ain't nobody doing nothing to me. Even if someone say something to you as far as words go, guess what? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt. People always come in my comment section saying, you know, being, you know, because I understand that somebody, if you come in my life and automatically you saying something negative, guess what? That lets me know. A light bulb go off in my head, let me know something wrong with you, man. Something's wrong with you, and that let me know that I got to pray for you. I got to ask God to help you because you don't know what's really going on. But once you understand, like I did, I had to understand, bro, that other people wasn't the problem. I was the problem. You know what I'm saying? I had all bitterness inside of me. Every time somebody say something I didn't like, you know what I'm saying, I swang on them. You know what I'm saying? I would use my training because, you know, I was a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I was a black belt in taekwondo. My fighting game was really good in the street. So if anybody would say something that I didn't like for whatever reason, because I knew I had the upper hand, why you had the upper hand, Stock Sniper? Because I was trained for this. And guess what? I automatically went in their grill. You know, but I had to realize that I was doing that, I was wrong. Why you was wrong, Stock Sniper? Because words and distance, right, shouldn't activate a negative reaction. Let me say it again. Words and distance should not activate a negative reaction. So I had to realize that it was with me. It was me inside me, the reason why I was reacting. Yes, I would try to blame it on the other person, but guess what I know? Two wrongs don't make a right. Right? And once I realized that life is my greatest asset, that I can use my physical capabilities and my mental capabilities for something greater than a negative interaction, guess what? It changed the way I thought about certain things, bro. And yes, I had to change my circle. You know what I'm saying? If I'm around, so even that the people that I'm talking about is words and distance, right? I had to do what? Make it more of a distance. In other words, I don't want to be within a mile of you. If I know that you're gonna spark a negative reaction to me, guess what? The growth and development of my mind, I'm gonna stay far away. I don't care who it is. It could be my mama. It could be my daddy. It could be my brother. Guess what? Nobody's going to disrupt the renewing of my mind. Nobody's going to do that, bro. I'm not going to allow nobody to break my spirit at all. Nobody to break my spirit. Because why, Stock Sniper? Because once you do that, you give them power over you, bro. I would never give nobody the power over me no more. Like what I was just talking about. Right? Somebody would say something that I don't like, but it's distance in between us. And because I had bitterness inside of me, I would haul off and attack them. Yes, I would haul off and attack them. And then once it all goes down, right, and things don't go right for them, guess what's going to happen? Why you did that? Why this? Why that? Why all these things? And man, because he did this, he did that. But did he touch you? No. How far away was he from you? 15 feet. So I had to learn how to control my mind, bro. I had to learn how to control my actions. I had to learn. Okay, you got to learn how to identify. You got to learn how to identify, reapply, and let it fly. That's what you got to do. You got to learn how to identify. You got to learn to identify, don't reply, let it fly. It does not hurt to turn the other cheek, bro. It don't hurt to turn the other cheek. Sometimes turning the other cheek is the best thing to do for your own mental health. Because guess what? Once it really goes there, the people that started, the people you going back and forth with, the people that's, coming at you in a negative way, guess what's gonna happen? At the end of the day, you're gonna be the one that they gonna come to. You the one that's got the answer to it. It always go like that, bro. Whenever somebody is picking with a person, right? And the person that's being picked on comes with that reaction back, guess what happens? 8 times out of 10. Is the person that gave the reaction always the one that get in trouble, bro. That's always that person. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here to tell you this. Once you realize life is your biggest asset, once you realize that and really think about it and marinate it, you might have to write it down on a wall. You might have to write it on your phone. You might have to do something so you can read it every single day. Yes, I said it. You might have to read it every single day. But guess what that does? When you read it every single day, man, I got to change my circle, right? I got to get out of this circle and get into a different type of circle. Why? Because life is my greatest asset. Life is short, right? And it's a bigger picture of what I'm trying to do. So that means that I need to change with the renewing of my mind, change and watch the people that I keep, and I got to move around. Sometimes you might have to be by yourself. Hello. Sometimes some people are in so much of a negative environment, bro. So much of a negative of people. Their mama could be negative, their daddy, their brother. Everything that they touch, any people that's within they touch is negative. Guess what they got to do? Once they realize and have to change it as a renewing of the mind, guess what they have to do? They got to leave, bro. They got to leave. Why? Because your peace, your mental health, your physical health, and your life, the longevity of your life depend on it. The longevity of your kids' life depend on it. The longevity of your grandkids' life depend on it. Because yes, if you are always negative, you always mess, always gossip, you always in that bullshit and bubblegum circle, guess what? You pass that shit to your kids and grandkids. Listen to the You do that. It is a physical, spiritual, emotional transfer. It is a spiritual, it is an emotional transfer. And if you don't believe me, live long enough. Write this down, screen record it, write it down, write a book, whatever you gotta do, and you'll come back to this. When you live as long as me, you'll come back to this and you'll be like, man, that boy sure was right. Stock Sniper sure was right. And if you already know these things, guess what you need to do? You need to share the video. It's billions of people in this world, bro, that need to understand life is short. Life is your greatest asset. Turn a negative into a positive and teach it to others. We the people, we got to understand that. And the only way that's going to be able to happen if it's each one teach one, each one teach one. That's how it's going to happen, bro. Everybody's talking about we the people. Everybody's talking about this. But nobody wants to put the work in. Nobody wants to put the work in, bro. Life is short. And if it don't apply, share the video. Help out. Help out. So I appreciate y'all for joining me on this walk down. This is the 25th episode. Season 2, episode 25. And the title of this walk down, Life is Your Greatest Asset, bro. I wish that dude that said that was in this chat the other day. Life is your greatest asset. That's why I love the chat so much. Because we have people in the chat, even though it be trolls coming in and people saying negative stuff, it's a lot more smart, positive people saying stuff than there's negative people. So all y'all that's coming in this chat, or some of y'all that's coming in this chat, being positive, adding to the conversation, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And you know, it's no now. I'm gonna give you one more chance, bro. Cause I don't like to block people. I don't like to put people in timeout. But this is a serious conversation that we're having, bro. It's a serious conversation, you know, and you need to be adding to the conversation in a positive way. By you saying that you're so black, you stole my bike, that actually really don't make any sense, bro. That's actually what I'm talking about. Being negative. It's something inside of you that's making you negative, bro. And you got to understand that ain't cool. You got to understand that life is not about that. Life is too short, bro. Life is short. And if you're a kid, you got parents that you probably need to be building a relationship with. You know, hopefully, I hope you ain't my age. But if you 20 or 30 or whatever the case may be, it's somebody that you need to worry about. You need to think about life is your greatest asset, bro. Life is short, and it's your greatest asset. Try to be positive on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Empty out the negativity. You know, we ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? But you got to wake up every single morning trying to train your mind, which is very difficult. It's hard, guys, when you think negative and you're doing negative things, to try to wake up every single morning and try to reprogram your mind like a computer, because the brain works kind of like a computer, bro. And a lot of people got viruses in their brain. You know what I'm saying? That's why a guy like It's Now, you know what I'm saying, he has a virus in the brain. He has to do a system overload in his brain, right? And it comes with understanding. The first step is understanding that you got a virus, bro. The second step is to make the certain changes. And whenever you got those thoughts come in your head, well, let me say something negative, let me type something negative, then you're supposed to, think about what you're doing first. You got to think about it. Man, I ain't going to do that. That's how you start the renewing of the mind process. It starts with a decision, bro. Make the right decision. You know what I'm saying? Make the intelligent decision. You know what I'm saying? Make the real decision. Because once you make the decision, you're always talking about real and fake. Once you make the decision not to be negative, once you make the decision in your mind, I ain't gonna do that, I'm gonna type something nice, or I'm gonna say something nice. You just became real. You just became real, as they say. You just became 100. You just became 1,000. Once you make that decision to stay out of that negative circle, because you are in once you make a decision to stay out of that negative circle, you just became 1,000. You just became real. You just became 100. And if you stay there, guess what you just became? You just became fake, bro. You keep on typing negative. You keep on bullying people, because that is that is also a form of bullying, right? Once you understand that, then you'll start wanting to change your mind. You know what I'm saying? See, but the inside of you is so bitter about yourself and about what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? So bitter about yourself and what you got going on, you're gonna lash out on somebody else. But really the problem lies within you. Once you realize that, bro, once I realized that, guess what happened? It changed my mind. It changed the way I thought about different things. It changed my mind. And you know what? I'm gonna time you out, bro. I'm gonna time you out for 30 minutes. I'm gonna give you 30 minutes, bro. I didn't want to do that, but I don't know, you just doing something. You know, trolling is really not cool, bro. It's not. I mean, it shows that you really you join the circus or something, bro. If you feel like life is about games, you know, you need to go get a job, go to the circus. You know what I'm saying? And go sign up to go be a clown, you know? Then you can joke and all that right there and get paid for it, bro. Start a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? You can do that. Start a YouTube channel and start putting down some content. See, that's another thing I'm going to tell a lot of y'all, you know what I'm saying, especially the ones that always... That means you love YouTube, bro. That means you love YouTube. And one of the best things you can do is start putting down your content. Turn your trolling page into your own YouTube platform. You know what I'm saying? Turn, and then start making your content. You know, whatever content that you like to make. If you like to be messy, if you like gossip, if you like talking about other people, then it is a circle for that, bro. It's a circle for those type of things. And this is not that circle, you know, but it's a lane for that, bro. All you gotta do is upload you a picture and press record or click live and just start talking. And you know, and when the people come in your live, instead of giving them positive information, just be a troll to the people that come in your live, bro. It's a lane for that. I hope you know that. And YouTube do pay. And actually they do. They pay a lot. To those channels that's about mess and gossip and it's about arguing and talking about one another, YouTube actually pays them really, really well. So you become a YouTube character. Me, I'm not a character, bro. I'm not a character. I'm real life. I'm a real person. What I am is what you see on this internet. That's exactly who I am. What you see, that's who I am. And that's what I try to do. Hey, what's up, Text 2 here? Hello, how you doing? Appreciate you for joining me. MK, agreed. Appreciate you. He most likely a family member, people. Yep, it's something going on with him, and that's what I'm here for. That's why I don't want to block him. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to, some people come on, just like in real life, I used to be like that. That's the reason why I work with, when people coming here tripping, that's why I work with them, because like I said earlier, I used to be a bully. I used to be bitter, but I understand, you know what I'm saying? I understand as I done gotten older, I understand why I was doing that. It's because something was going on inside of me. That's why I come out here and put the work in, guys. I exercise. All that negative energy, those negative thoughts, if you come out and you go work out, if you go run, if you go to the gym for an hour and a half, guess what, guys? You're not gonna have time for the mess and the gossip. You ain't gonna have time for that. That's all you gotta do. Anybody, the quickest way to empty out the negativity is go and run. Man, I got all this negative energy in me. I got all this, my mouth, I can't stop being negative out the mouth. I always got to argue with other people. Guess what you got to do? All you got to do is go run, go exercise, go run, go work out for about 2 hours. And guess what? After you get through working out, I'm not talking about lifting weights, but do 10 reps, lift the weight 10 times and then stop for 30 minutes. Nah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actually open up the door and take off running and run and walk like what I'm doing right now. Go do that for about an hour. I guarantee you, you will go to sleep. You won't have time for no mess and no gossip, bro. You won't have time for being messy. All you gotta do is do that every single day. And guess what? That alone will empty out the negativity. I just gave somebody a big tip, bro. I challenge anybody. If you realize that, hey man, this what I'm doing ain't right, and I don't know how to get rid of it, the easiest way to empty out the negativity is open up your door and take off running and don't stop. And then when you get tired, stop and start walking. And then when you get your breath back, run again. When you get tired, stop again. Do that for 1 hour. And guess what's gonna happen? When you get done with that, you're gonna take a bath, you're gonna eat, and you're gonna go to sleep. That is the antidote. That is the cure for being messy, coming in somebody's life, talking out the side of your neck. That is the recipe for being messy and gossiping in real life, being a bully, whatever the case may be. Once you do that, you ain't gonna have time for all that, bro. You're gonna be too tired. That's what I'm saying. I come out here and I put the work in every day, bro. Once I get done with this, I'm too tired to argue. I'm too tired to be bitter. I'm too tired to be frustrated. I'm too tired to worry about the mess and the gossip. I'm too tired and worried about who talking about me. I'm too tired to worry about who talking about me. Guess what? People gonna talk. That's what they do. They gonna talk if you up. They gonna talk if you down. They gonna talk if you in the Benz. They gonna talk if you walking. They gonna talk if you playing golf. They gonna talk if you're not playing golf. That's just life. Once I understood that, and understood that life is short, and understood that life is my greatest asset, and understood that only thing that mattered was my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids and my nieces and nephews. Once I realized that, bro, ain't nothing that nobody can say, ain't nothing that nobody can do to make me go back into that negative way of approaching people. Now, I just know that something's going on with you, and guess what I gotta do? I gave the dude 30 minutes, I'll tell him something positive, and I go on by my way. Now, if he come back and do the same thing, I'ma block him. That's how I am in real life. Because see, it's trolls in real life. Just like it's trolls on this internet, it's really trolls in real life. See, on the internet, that's really nothing. That's really nothing on the internet. You know, people making negative comments, people talking about other people on the internet, and then when you hear this person talking about you, you go back and you respond back and forth. See, that is nothing. See, what about when it happens in real life? See, in real life, it's a different ball game, bro. In real life, it's a different ball game. And in real life, if you can handle that situation in real life, this internet ain't nothing. See, in real life, I just say, man, look, so-and-so got a personal problem. And I ain't got it. And guess what I do? I exit. Never to return. Never to return. Knowing that you just talking. You just typing, you just talking. You really ain't gonna get to it, bro. That's another thing y'all need to realize. A lot of people that just be starting mess, like I said earlier, a lot of people that start mess, a lot of people that's messy and gossip and all they do is want to lip wrestle. Guess what's gonna happen? The one that starts it gonna always be the one, always be the one that chicken out at the end of the day. Once you understand that, then you understand that you're wasting your time going back and forth, and then you just turn the other cheek. And you know what they'll do? They'll call you a coward. They'll say you scared. They'll say you ain't built like that. They'll say all these type of things, but they really don't know. They really don't know. That's why, kids, long as nobody is in your presence, nobody's in your face, nobody even come close. Now, I ain't gonna say put their hands on you, because if somebody's in your physical space, that's within 3 to 5 feet. If you run in your mouth and you come in within 3 or 5 feet of my area, it ain't gonna be no more talking. So youngsters, long as nobody is within 3 or 5 feet, if it don't apply, let it fly. That's all you gotta do. Don't be like I was when I was a kid. You know, so when I was bitter and frustrated, somebody can be 15 feet away or 20 feet away. And if they lip talking, I ain't gonna do no talking. I'm just gonna go get to it. But I had to change my mind. Why you had to change your mind, Stock Sniper? Because I would be the one that get in trouble, because they gonna chicken out. You know what I'm saying? They gonna chicken out or they gonna tap out, right? And then once it really goes, once it really hits the fan, I'm gonna be the one that get in trouble. So I had to understand, with the changing of the renewal of my mind and get that bitterness out of me. Long as they ain't in my 3 or 5 feet, long as they ain't right here, it's all good. So that's what y'all gotta remember. And sometimes if you in school and kids are bullying you, because there's a lot of bullying going on, bro. If you're still in school, parents, tell your kids that they need to go tell the teacher. They need to go tell the principal. Because violence and lip wrestling is the last thing. You always want to solve a problem. You always want to solve a problem with a positive solution. The negative route never turns out right, bro. Never. It never turns out right. It always turns out ugly and bad, bro. And that's what we got to realize. You know, it's a lot of arguing and going back and forth. Bro, just let it go. There's a lot of people coming in the chat, you know, being negative, man. Ignore it, let it go. That's how it works, guys. That's how it works. And you know, and then when you're trying to push something positive to people, it's a lot of people that don't want people to be positive. That's another thing we got to look out for in 2025. It's a lot of people in this world that want us divided, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that want us divided, especially as a people. We the people, it's a lot of people that want us going back and forth. They want us to disagree. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that's what they want. And they get happy and they go to skinning and grinning when people are disagreeing with each other. But then those are the main ones that ain't gonna do nothing. They want to keep the mess going, but never want to be they never want to be the solution to the problem, bro. And more of that's going on right now in 2025 than ever before. And it's causing a lot of mental health issues. Because don't get it twisted. The people that always with mess and gossip, drama, always got to keep it going, don't never want no peace, always want a negative reaction. Number one, those are the main ones that's gonna run. And then number two, they're never the ones there when the dust settles. They're never there, bro. Never. Take it from the unk. They're never there, bro. The bully always gonna run or ain't gonna be nowhere around when it get real. Just like a balloon, that's how a bully is, bro. It's a balloon, you get a needle and pop it, all you gotta do is take a needle and pop that bully. And all that air gonna go out of him, just like a balloon, bro. That's why I never take, you know what I'm saying? I never take people that's negative, always wanna argue, especially men. That always wanna argue, always wanna gossip, I don't never take them serious, bro. I really don't. You know, but it was a time when I did, and they couldn't come within 15 feet of me. But these days, since I done got older, once I got around 30, I started looking at things differently because I realized that once it go down, that ain't nothing gonna happen to them because they gonna be scared, they gonna run, they gonna turn out cowards, and they ain't gonna be able to handle what's coming to them, bro. That's what I realized. So y'all, anybody that's getting bullied, anybody, if you old, if you young and you getting bullied, remember that. When you see somebody that's bullying, always want to argue and gossip, automatically a light bulb should go off in your head. Oh man, you know what? I'm just gonna turn around and move around because if it really go there, I'm gonna be the one that have to pay the cost. And I realize that you get to that level by growth and development. And once you realize that, then you stay out of that circle. You stay away from them people. And yes, they gonna say he's scared. Oh, they say whatever you want to say. But guess what? You ain't gonna come within 3 or 5 feet of whatever I'm doing. You ain't gonna do that. Because guess what? 9 times out of 10, when those type of people do get within 3 or 5 feet, all they gonna do is talk. They gonna keep on, they gonna come inside your circle, and all they gonna do is run their mouth. Run their mouth. That's all they gonna do. Trust me. And then once you react, right, in a physical way, then at the end of the day, when people come around, it could be whatever, the police or whatever, when they come around, all they gonna see is you being the aggressor, and you the one that's gonna get in trouble. You the one that's gonna get the charge. The whole time, the bully, you know what I'm saying, the bully or the person that's always about mess and gossip is gonna be the one, you know what I'm saying, that turned coward. Trust me. I've been seeing that my whole life. That's how I actually learned. So y'all that's out there, let the things that I went through be your lighting eye. And yes, if you like, man, you know what, I'm done with that, and you turn around, they gonna call you lame, they gonna say you scary, all these type of things, bro. Because they want everybody to be in that same bucket. It's called a crab in the bucket mentality. And they don't want nobody to leave that circle. They want everybody to be in that same circle so they can keep it going, which is a mental health problem. That's what it is, guys. It's a mental health problem. But then once you realize and wake up, then what they say won't matter. And then sometimes you be emotionally attached. That's another thing, bro. Once you are in that circle, right? and it's steady going like that, and you want to break off, you are emotionally attached to that energy. You are emotionally attached to what's going on. That's like in a relationship with a girl. If y'all have a toxic relationship, but you keep going back, it's because you emotionally attached, right? And you have to break that attachment. You have to break it. You know what I'm saying? Because you have been drawn in, and then it'll feel like it's just drawing you back. It's just drawing you back, that negative energy trying to draw you back into that bucket, bro. Or sis, that's what it be. A lot of you women that, be going through it with men, and you always go back to them, that's that negative energy pulling you back, bro or sis. That's that negative energy pulling you back. And one thing about negative energy, it is 1,000% stronger than positive energy, bro. That's why it's so hard to get in trouble. I mean, it's so hard. It's so easy to get in trouble, and it's so hard to get out of it, bro. It's because that negative energy is just pulling you there, and it's strong, bro. Trust me, listen to the OG. It's strong until you make your mind up in your mind, you know what I'm saying, to break that energy, bro. And it take time to do it. It ain't gonna happen overnight. It take time. You got to mentally and physically detach yourself from that negative energy. And it take time. It really do. And with this internet, you know what I'm saying, it's even worse because this internet has negative energy coming off of it as well. Yeah, I'm about to go in now. This internet, this phone has negative energy coming off of it, bro. It's actually worse. Why, Stock Sniper? Because that's all we looking at. That's all we listening to. That's all we watching is what's going on this phone. And either your phone gonna be a positive energy or it's gonna be negative energy. Either it's gonna be positive energy or it's gonna be a negative energy. The choice is yours. What do you want your phone to be? You want your phone to be a positive energy or you want it to be a negative energy? You want your phone to be a income device or just something you just doing? Because yes, this phone is an ATM machine if you know how to work it. I'm gonna say that again. Do you want this phone to be a negative energy or you want it to be a positive energy? Do you want this phone to be an asset or you want it to be a liability? This phone is an ATM machine. All you gotta know is the passcode. And that comes with changing your mind and looking at things different. That's what it comes across to. Stop making negative comments on this phone and start using this phone as an ATM machine. To do what? To build something for you and your family, which is the topic of this video. Which is the topic of this video. So that's what you gotta ask yourself. You want a negative reaction off this phone or you want a positive reaction out of this phone? It's easy, but it's hard at the same damn time. It's up to you to make the decision. Up to you. Do you want this phone to be a positive or a negative reaction? And if you want it to be a positive reaction, then you need to put down the steps and change the renewing of your mind and put the work in. That's what you gotta do. Because life is short, bro. Sis, life is short. Life is short. And life is your greatest asset. And this phone is an ATM machine. All you gotta do is know how to work the passcode. All you gotta know is the passcode. It's 2025. Why are you on this internet trolling in somebody's live when you got an ATM machine in your hand? That's all I'm saying. Why are you wasting your time on negativity when you got an ATM machine in your hand, which is the phone? Answer that question. Why are you using that? Why are you using your energy comment negative stuff in people's comment section when you got an ATM machine in your hand? All you gotta know is the passcode. And guess what? If you roll with a Stock Sniper TV, I'm gonna give you the passcode. I'm gonna give it to you. If you listen to this video again, if you open your mind and you get your head out of the gutter, I just gave you the passcode in this live. Cause I'm passionate. I'm excited. I'm excited. That's why. And guess what? Guess what? This phone, you can only use it for one or two things: a positive reaction or a negative reaction. One of the two. Yes, I'm shouting, but I'm not cussing nobody out. I'm not talking about nobody. I'm not being messy. I'm not talking about what's going on somebody else's YouTube channel. I'm not talking about what's going on MLK. I'm speaking truth into power. I'm talking to the trolls. That's who I'm talking to. You got an ATM machine in your hand and you want to come in somebody's live being negative, bro. It absolutely makes no sense. With all this stuff that's going on in the world, all these ways to create wealth, all these ways to turn nothing into something, and you want to be negative. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. If it don't apply to you, share the video. You know somebody that can listen to this video. And you ain't even got to say a word. All you got to do is say, man, Unc going in. Listen to this video. That's all you got to say. Somebody that you love. It can be a brother. It could be a sister. It could be your daddy. It could be a mama. It could be your uncle, a cousin. It could be your homeboy over there on MLK. It could be this, that, and the third. You understand what I'm saying? Share the video. Help somebody. If you're a troll in the live, or you do that, you talk, you be negative in people's lives, guess what? Wake up and help somebody. If you think your shit don't stink, share the video. Because you know, there's a lot of people, you know, that troll, and then they act like they got their shit together. You know, they act like they don't need to know nothing. They act like they got their life together. You know, they think their shit don't stink. They think, you know, they all that in the bag of chips. If that applies to you, share the video, help somebody. If you got your life together, if you got everything going the right way, help somebody. Help somebody. Help somebody. Life is short. And life is your biggest asset. And with your biggest asset, which is your life, it is your duty to try to help as much people as you can. If you think your shit don't stink. If you think your shit don't stink, you got everything figured out, why you ain't helping nobody? Why you trying to tear people down? Why is that? Well, they talking about me. Well, if they talking about you, be mature and be a man about the situation and get out of the circle. Bro. So, if it don't apply to you, share the video. That's all you got to do. Let me do all the talking. Let me do the shouting. Let me do the talking. But guess what? You can't say that what's coming out of my mouth is not true. It's not facts. It is not 1,000. It's true. I'm not talking about nobody. I'm spitting facts. Why are you doing that, Stock Sniper? Because life is short. You want to know why I'm shouting? Because life is short, bro. And life is your biggest asset. That's why I'm shouting. Don't listen to how I'm shouting. Listen to what I'm saying. That's why I want to change somebody's life. And sometimes you got to shout. Sometimes you got to say things that people want to hear. I'm inspired, bro. I'm 50 years old. I'm retired. I run 6 miles a day. I done walked another 3. I'm inspired. Life is short, and life is your greatest asset. We got to understand that. We the people got to understand that, bro. We the people got to understand. We run this world, bro. We have to understand that we here together. Ain't no separation. We family. I said it. We family. We are family, bro. We living on this earth together. We here together. We the people. The powers that be, they together. I hope y'all know that, right? The powers that be, the 1%, the one that's really controlling us in this world, they are together. But guess what? They want to try to make us think they not. But they are. But once we wake up and come together as a people, guess what's going to happen? Then we can change the world. They talk about that in the Bible. The last will be first, and the first will be last. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling with me. I appreciate everybody that come in and rock with the channel. I appreciate everybody that come kick it with me. I appreciate the ones that come and don't say nothing. Because guess what? I really don't want you commenting. I want you listening. I want you listening, taking notes, and understanding that life is short. Life is your greatest asset. What are you going to do to change it around? And if you have changed it around, what are you going to do to help somebody else change it around? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to help somebody else change it around? That's what. Use your platform and your voice to help people, not just on this internet, but in real life. But only thing on the internet, you have the ability to touch more people. Why, Stock Sniper? Because everybody is on YouTube. Did you see the new YouTube numbers that just came out? I'm gonna go this way. Did y'all see the new YouTube numbers that just came out on how many people are actually on YouTube, bro? There's more people on YouTube than Netflix. There's more people on YouTube than regular TV. Everybody's on YouTube. Guess what? That's how you're able to reach mass amount of people. So what are you gonna do with your platform? What are you gonna do with your phone? What are you gonna use your phone for? Or you use your phone to argue back and forth, be messing guys, and come on somebody trying to distract? Because you can't distract me. Are you gonna guess what? Kids and my grandkids are watching right now. So I'm gonna use you as a teaching stool, a teachable lesson on what to be. Thank you in front of the classroom to my grandkids on what not to be. And I'm gonna tell them, I bet not see you doing that. If I see you doing that, it's gonna be me and you. Ain't nobody gonna be able to get me off you. If I see you disrespecting people and acting like a clown and acting like a bozo, that's what I'm gonna tell them. So congratulations, you just became case study number 130. Yes, I got about 130 case studies already. If you don't believe me, run the videos back. Everything that I say, everything that I think is blue to blam, mess and gossip and bullshit, I use it as a case study to my grandkids, bro. Of what not to be. Yes, I let the video do the talking. And all I gotta do is say, I bet not see you acting like that, son. If I ever see you acting like that, it's gonna be me and you. That's what I tell my grandkids, bro. Straight up. So you come in here and act like that, you just be case study number 131. That's all it is to it. So the best thing to do is listen to the message, learn something, don't say nothing, listen, and get something out of the conversation. If it don't apply, let it fly. No, don't just let it fly. Share the video, because you know somebody that can learn from this video. Just a wake-up call. That's all it needs, because it's all common sense. You just got to wake up. That's all you got to do is wake up. That's all you got to do is wake your game up. That's all you got to do. Once you wake your game up and apply basic knowledge, once you apply the basic right and wrong of life, guess what's going to happen? Your life going to turn out better, bro. But you keep on staying in that negative circle, that negative framework, guess what's going to happen? Your life ain't turn out too great unless you change. Because guess what? That negative, all that negative energy, you do know causes heart attacks and strokes, right? And diabetes and all that. If you don't believe me, look it up. What causes stress? What causes anger? What causes arguing with somebody all the time? What does negativity cause? Up. So I know a lot of people like to Google everything. Google and look it up on those things right there and see what are the leading causes of heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, cancer. Look it up. Life is your greatest asset. And yes, the company you keep, the energy that you are around affects your greatest asset, which is your life. Your life is your greatest asset. Once we realize that life is our greatest asset and that life is short, if you got to write it down, because a lot of times we hear things, that's another thing. They want our attention span to be so short. So you'll listen to this and then you'll run into something else and forget all about this. Write it down. Write it down at the top of the page. Life is my greatest asset. Life is short. And put a 1 and put a number 2. And then put the changes that you're going to make. Life is my greatest asset. Okay, what are the changes I can make today, right now, to make my asset more valuable? And write down keynotes. And then go to number 2. Life is short. What I need to do on this short time that I'm on this earth to be a positive impact on my family, my friends, and the world. And it goes in that order. But you got to take care of you and your family first. Once your family is straight, then you can move on to the next step. It's called a plan. It's called a plan. Well, Stock Sniper, that's kind of corny. You go to any one of these restaurants that you like to go into every single day, and you're going to see goals wrote down on the wall. Whether it be what time you got to clock in, what time, who comes on the shift next, how many hamburgers we sold this month, how many hamburgers we sold this week. It's a graph back there behind where they cook the hamburgers at. So if these billion-dollar companies are doing it, why me and you can't do it? Why we can't do it? Right? Why we can't do it? See, too many people be trying to peep the pockets of these billionaires. Oh, the rich gonna keep rich and the poor gonna keep being poor. Okay, what are you gonna do to try to get yourself in somewhere close to that? If you put the work in more than you worried about Bill Gates' pockets, maybe you could be the next Bill Gates. Maybe if you look at what they're doing, like somebody said in a live earlier, shout out to you. If people quit worrying about how much money the billionaires making and start worrying about what are they doing to put themselves into position to win, then maybe you can pull your family out of poor. You gotta do that, bro or sis. You gotta pull yourself from being poor to the middle class, and then from the middle class to being rich, and from being rich to being wealthy, and from being wealthy to put your bracket into where your grandkids and your downline gonna have to do that. But you can lay down the financial blueprint right now. And it starts by understanding that your life is your greatest asset and life is short. That's the reason why people cannot get out of the poor mentality. It's about how you thinking. It's about how we thinking. The way we are thinking is not as of the wealth and the rich. It's not, bro. They think totally different. They do shit totally different. They do things differently. So instead of trying to complain about how they're getting so much filthy rich, figure out what they are doing. In other words, follow their blueprint. And you do that by getting around the right people, changing your circle, get into a circle that is trying to elevate as well. Get in that type of circle that's having different conversations. And with the internet, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. It's about connecting. It's about who you connect with on this internet. I said 30 minutes ago that this internet, this phone, you're going to use it for positive or you're going to use it for negativity. This phone, this internet is an ATM machine. All you got to know is the passcode. That's it. That's all you have to know. You got to know the passcode. And then you got to be able to understand that life is short and understand that life is your greatest asset. And then you got to put the work in. Then you got to put the work in. That's it. It's simple. But the thing that people are not getting is that the work part. That's all. That's it. You want to know how I was able to retire before I turned 50? I just explained it. So if you're in my comment section being messy and gossiping, bro, you missing the point. And in 2025, you got an ATM machine in your hand with the ability to connect with like-minded people. Do you know how many people in the world actually think positively? How many people in this world actually really think how I'm speaking on this internet? It comes with getting out of a circle and elevating into a whole nother atmosphere. That's what it comes to. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to take time, but then that's how you attract the right people in your life. That's how. The ability of this internet and this ATM machine. The phone is not a phone. It's an ATM machine. All you got to know is the passcode. With that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. Everybody that tuning in, tapping in, everybody that give me these great messages to speak, because I get it from y'all. The guy said yesterday, life is your biggest asset. That is the title to this live, to this walk down. This is season 2, episode 25. 75 episodes all together. Yes, audio book, in other words. This is an audio book, a blueprint to retire before you turn 50 years old. I love and I appreciate you. This is the one and only Stock Sniper. Earn, spend less, and invest. To the next one, I love and I appreciate y'all. To the next one, I'm out.